You know that feeling, right? You start a New Year's resolution, a brand new habit. You've got this grand plan, and it just fizzles out after a few weeks. You come out of the gates so strong, you're full of motivation, and then bam, you hit a wall. It's a struggle we all know. But what if I told you the problem isn't your discipline? What if it's the strategy you're using? I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. We're always told to just push harder, to have more grit, more discipline. But if willpower was really the secret, why does it feel like a battery that's constantly in the red? Why does being consistent feel like this massive uphill battle that you're just bound to lose eventually? And here's the big reveal, and it's actually a huge relief. It is not your fault. This isn't a story about some kind of personal failure or a lack of character. Nope, this is a story about neuroscience. The real answer to building long-term consistency is hidden in understanding how your brain is actually designed to work, not how you wish it worked. Okay, so let's dive right in. First things first, we've got to tackle the single biggest myth in the entire world of productivity and self-help. This idea that raw, brute force willpower is the key to getting things done. This quote just nails it. The prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain right behind your forehead that does all the heavy lifting, the conscious control, the tough decisions, and trying to use that to power your goals day in and day out, it's like trying to run an entire factory on a couple of AA batteries. It's just not built for that kind of sustained heavy load. It's a flawed strategy from the get-go. So you might be asking, if the prefrontal cortex isn't the answer for the long haul, then what is? Well, to figure that out, we need to meet the two competing systems that are running the show inside your head. This is the core science behind how you actually do, well, anything. Think of it like this. You've basically got two different modes of operation. First, there's your goal-directed system. This is like the conscious CEO of your brain. It's brilliant, it makes these amazing plans, it can adapt on the fly, but it is incredibly expensive to run. It takes a ton of energy. And then you have the habitual system. This is like an automated factory floor. It's not smart, it's not flexible at all, but it is unbelievably efficient. It just runs the programs it's been given on autopilot with almost no effort. So let's get a little nerdy for a second and look under the hood. This table shows you the actual hardware. Your goal-directed CEO system uses the prefrontal cortex for all that planning. What drives it? The value of the outcome, the big prize at the end. And its cognitive cost? It's high. It burns through energy. The habitual factory floor system, on the other hand, relies on more automatic, motor-related parts of the brain. It's driven by simple environmental cues. You see a thing, you do the thing. And its cost? It's low. So the real goal here isn't to have a better, harder-working CEO. It's to move tasks off the CEO's desk and down to that automated factory floor. So why is that CEO, that goal-directed system, so ridiculously expensive to run? I mean, why do you feel so mentally wiped out after a long day of trying to focus or resist temptation? The answer isn't psychological. It's pure biology. There's this fascinating area of research called the glutamate hypothesis. So glutamate is basically your brain's main go signal. It's an excitatory neurotransmitter. But here's the catch. When you overuse your prefrontal cortex for hours on end, glutamate starts to build up in the space outside your neurons. And that buildup is like a toxic sludge. It's a real, measurable chemical event that makes it physically harder to exert more effort. That feeling of being totally fried, it's not just in your head. It's a literal chemical state in your brain. And what's so cool about this is that researchers can actually see it happen. After a day packed with intense mental work, they found a significant, around 10% increase in glutamate just sloshing around in the prefrontal cortex. That buildup is a biological stop sign telling your brain, hey, shut down this high-demand activity and shift to something easy, like scrolling through your phone instead of hitting the gym. This whole biological reality brings us to one of the most persistent and frankly damaging myths in all of productivity. We've all heard it a million times, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. Well, turns out that's not just a little off, it's wildly optimistic, and it totally sets us up for failure. Some landmark research from University College London finally put a real number on it. They found that the average time it takes for a new behavior to feel automatic, for it to be run by that low-cost habitual system, is 66 days. 66, not 21. That's more than 3 times longer than we've been told. Expecting a habit to be effortless in 3 weeks is like expecting a tree to grow fruit a day after you plant the seed. And what's even more fascinating is that 66 days is just an average. The reality is this huge spectrum. A really simple habit, like drinking a glass of water after breakfast, might lock in after just 18 days. But something complex, something that requires a lot more effort, like establishing a consistent gym routine, that can take up to 254 days. That is over 8 months. Knowing this completely changes the game, doesn't it? Okay, so let's shift gears and get practical. We've talked about the what. Now let's talk about the how. If willpower is the wrong tool for the job, how do we actually build a system that works with our brain's design to create real, lasting change? So every new behavior, every single one, goes through 3 distinct phases. First, there's motivation, that initial spark, the excitement. But we all know motivation is a fickle friend. It comes and goes. When it disappears, it forces you onto what scientists call the discipline bridge. This is the tough part, the challenging middle, where motivation has vanished, but the behavior isn't automatic yet. This is where you have to burn that expensive willpower, and frankly, it's where most people quit. The entire goal is to cross that bridge to the final phase, habit, where the behavior becomes an effortless default action. So how on earth do you cross that bridge? The first, and maybe most powerful tool, is a huge mental shift. See, most of us set outcome-based goals. I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to finish a book. The problem is, results can be slow, and when you don't see them, your motivation tanks. A much better approach is to focus on identity. The goal isn't to write a book. It's to become a writer. The goal isn't to lose weight. It's to become a healthy person. It's a subtle but profound difference. And this is the key right here. When you frame it this way, every single action you take, no matter how tiny, becomes a vote for your new identity. Wrote just one sentence today? You just cast a vote for, I'm a writer. Took the stairs instead of the elevator? Click. That's a vote for, I'm an active person. These small wins start to build up as evidence, and slowly but surely, your brain starts to believe the new story you're telling it about who you are. Okay, so while identity shapes your internal world, it's your external world that so often dictates what you actually do. So instead of trying to overpower your environment with sheer self-control, you need to become an architect of your space. This is such a powerful strategy. You make good habits ridiculously easy by reducing friction, laying out your gym clothes the night before. And you make bad habits harder by adding friction, like putting your phone in another room when you need to focus. The whole point is to design a world where your desired choice is simply the path of least resistance. All right, let's pull all of these different threads together into one complete framework. This isn't about some single life hack or trick. It's about building an entire architecture for consistency, one that actually respects your biology. And here it is, the 6 pillars to making this work. Number 1, a solid metabolic foundation. Sleep is absolutely non-negotiable for clearing out that glutamate. 2, start ridiculously small with habits that are too small to fail. 3, engineer your environment. 4, constantly cast votes for your desired identity. 5, know that the discipline bridge is coming and have a plan for it. And finally, number 6, trust the process. Trust that enough repetition will eventually make the behavior automatic and effortless. And if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. The people you admire for their incredible discipline, they are not superheroes. They're not just gritting their teeth and battling temptation with some superhuman force of will every minute of every day. Nope. They've simply built better systems. They've designed an architecture in their lives that makes consistency the default, not the exception. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. Instead of constantly asking yourself, how can I get more willpower? Start asking a different, much more powerful question. How can I design a life that requires less of it? Because that's where you'll find the real secret to doing amazing things, not just for a week or a month, but for years and years to come.